Heritage Sports, it is my favorite time of year. It is the NFL draft, mock draft season. Mel Kiper, of course, is essentially the guy who was there that made this thing go mainstream. He releases his mock draft every year. He has different versions. The next one has come out. I'm going to talk about what he has listed as the top 10 and give you something just to think about, just to consider about the Detroit Lions. If you want me to talk about the Detroit Lions and want to hear that, you can skip to the end of this video. All right, so he gives 1 through 10. As I've been saying from, I don't know, December, I think CJ Stroud was the better candidate, like the better quarterback. And I'm not saying like skill wise. I'm just saying as far as who you would draft first. Like if I'm picking CJ Stroud first. We went into detail. You can go back on our channel and I'll put it this specific video at the end. It was me comparing CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. They're both basically not even 100, grew up 100 miles away from each other in Cali. They play not so much differently. I think Bryce Young is definitely more of a pro style guy. CJ Stroud is more of an explosive kind of person, but they both can throw the ball with accuracy, throw it on time, be on a schedule. I think CJ is more of a shotgun person, which I think that's what Carolina's offense was last year. When you look at a lot of Baker Mayfield clips, Darnold clips, whoever was playing clips, they were in a shotgun most of the time. So I see that considering they want to be a spread, wide open uh, kind of offense. Anyway, so Mel Kiper has now put C.J. Stroud as number one, going first overall to the Carolina Panthers. C.J. Stroud had his pro day today. I was watching that. He looked just like normal. If you watch the Georgia Ohio State game, he put everything you needed to see on film. He essentially almost won that game by himself against the national champions. He is prime time. He's ready to go day one, and Carolina seems to be trending that way. Two is Bryce Young, going to the Houston Texans, second overall. He's going to go into that organization. They're going to put things around him, new coach who who they want to do well. I really do think they want him to do well. He's a former player there, so I feel that the coach will be there more than 1 year. But to each its own. Bryce Young will be able to hopefully come into a pro style offense where he's doing rollouts. They play to his strengths. He'll be able to run occasionally and be in the Russell Wilson mold. I need to do a video on Russell Wilson, how all these shorter quarterbacks need to, like, they owe him money. All right. Russell Wilson was a third, fourth round pick, whatever he was. If you notice, from 2010 to beyond, there was not one shorter quarterback drafted and number one overall until Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl and got his deal. All of a sudden, all the Baker Mayfields and all the Bryce Youngs and Kyler Murray, they started getting drafted. That never happened until Russell Wilson got on. All right, number three, Will Levis. Now this, oh my gosh, it just to the Colts. They did not really do anything to solidify, their quarterback competition. So it's more than likely going to draft Will Levis if he's the only quarterback remaining. I think the Colts will be happy to draft whoever's there, whether it's Bryce Young, Will Levis, or C.J. Stroud. However, if it's Will there, there is a drop off of talent after Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, and that's what Will Levis is. Is he a day one starter? I don't know. I don't. I'm hazy. I don't know which one it'll be, but I'll tell you this: if it was any other draft where it was quarterback average, decent, I don't think he would be a top three pick. I really don't. But that's the disgusting thing about it. But hey, let the young men make their money. All right, number four, Arizona Cardinals go with Will Anderson, Jr. out of Alabama. Um, yeah, I think I know they flipped that trade with the Colts. I think they know they're not going to draft a quarterback, but they're going to have to do something. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to be ready week one, or with his injury and how late it was, it may not be until week 4, week 5 until we really see him and he gets back into the flow of things, or even further. All right, number 5, the Seattle Seahawks draft Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida. He's been well covered on that channel. I've talked about how he's the smartest guy in the draft to me. He waits 1 year, he goes in the second round to me. But Anthony Richardson goes top five in this draft. It is unbelievable. But that is, if there was an ideal, perfect fit situation for Anthony Richardson, it would be for the Seattle Seahawks. He comes in, Geno Smith has got his money. They know it's really a 2 year deal, and you're going to have to prove it on the third. It'll be much like an Alex Smith, Pat Mahomes kind of thing. You know, again, there's a drop off. There's a drop off. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, drop off, Will Levis, and then there's another big drop off, and then it's Anthony Richardson. But it's funny because Anthony Richardson is still going to the top five. He is not a day one starter next year. He's not. I think this is the perfect situation. He needs to go in, have another year or 2 years, which a lot of scouts were telling him go back in college. The problem is he wasn't getting as much money he's going to be making from the Seattle Seahawks. This is super, super ideal. And then they'll be able to do packages with him, sort of like the Saints, where they had Taysom Hill come in and he could just use his athleticism on short yardage. You can bring him in just for a change of pace as far as running a quarterback kind of pass option type of thing. I think it's super, super ideal. You can get him 10 to 12 plays in a package for a week, and he can cause a lot of the headaches for defenses, especially if your offense can get stagnant. Last year, Geno Smith did a great job, and every now and again, the offense just was out of rhythm. And I think he would be the perfect person you can plug in when that stuff happens, and he could just sit for a year, 2 years, and then just take the reins as the man. Okay, number 6, Detroit Lions. They have the much recently shamed Jalen Carter, who was slipping from out of Georgia because of everything that went on, have him going to Detroit. I want to talk about Detroit in a second. Again, that's via the Los Angeles Rams pick they have. Trust me, I'm going to get to this and tell you why I don't think that's the pick, even though Mel Kiper says that's where he's going. 7, the Las Vegas Raiders, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, Oregon, really good player. Number 8, Atlanta Falcons. He has projected Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois, which I really, really love that kid. I love the way he plays. Number 9, Chicago Bears. They traded with the Carolina Panthers. They are projected to select Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle out of Ohio State. You know, hey, their GM is an offensive lineman, so that would not surprise me. And rounding out number 10, I don't think somebody with the name Ski, the last 3 digits of their name Ski, has been selected in the top 10. All I could think is Janikowski, and he wasn't top 10. But Peter Janikowski via the New Orleans Saints pick, offensive tackle guard, Northwestern. I don't think that's going to be the pick either. I'm not saying it's a boring pick. I just don't see the Eagles staying in that position to draft a guard. I really don't. I think they'll look to trade back, but if they don't have the right trading partner, I can see them staying there and taking a guard or whoever is best available. All right, Jalen Carter, number 6, the Detroit Lions. I don't think he goes there. I don't. I think they're gonna bypass him, and I don't think the Raiders are gonna take him. And I'll tell you right now, the Raiders, the optics look bad. Okay, Raiders, no, you cannot have. I don't know if he's off the draft board, but there's no way you can draft Jalen Carter after what happened with him in the off season and him pleading guilty or no contest, excuse me, to misdemeanors that led to street racing that led to things that shouldn't have. They still got the Henry Ruggs situation. The kids, Henry Ruggs went to Alabama. Jalen Carter is out of the SEC. He went to Georgia. Like, that's just too much of a connection. I think they're going to have to go with the best available. I don't think they go with Jalen Carter. I think they'll go with someone else, perhaps or trade down, or perhaps on their line. But I don't think so. I think they're going to get some more protection for Jimmy G. He looks ready to go. They'll need to protect him. They need to make sure he stays upright, because if he goes down, Jarrett Stidham's gone. Jarrett Stidham's in Denver. I don't know who their backup quarterback is, but that they need some kind of continuity, and they don't need Jimmy G tanking the season like he did for the 49ers. Now, the 49ers drafted well. They had Trey Lance. They had Brock Purdy, but I don't know if the Raiders are drafted well and have a great quarterback room. So I don't think he goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Jalen Carter actually goes to the Atlanta Falcons. They know him more than anybody. Um, they have people up the road that they can call on. I think that's his highest support system that keeps him in the state of Georgia. So I think Jalen Carter goes to Atlanta Falcons. So the question is, who do the Detroit Lions pick? In a vacuum, Jalen Carter does not drop to number 6 to the Detroit Lions. One. Two, I don't think Jalen Carter is the kind of guy they want. They are big into grit. They like gritty players. That's their big thing. If you watch their YouTube show, that's all they talk about. They look for players that are gritty, that are just going to be these vets that scrape, that are tryhards, that will put in the extra effort. Jalen Carter is not that kind of a player to me. He's a dominant player. He's a player you gotta plan with and deal with. He just doesn't strike me as the mode of what they're going for. The person that they strike me to get is Devin Witherspoon. He's the cornerback out of Illinois. He is one of my favorite players. Got into football late and is an absolute competitor. Very gritty. If you watch him play, is physical. Will knock the will knock the ball from the ball carrier. He seems to be that kind of a person that Detroit would draft. I know that they were they had plans on getting, or what, talking about plans on getting Slay back if Slay had left the Eagles for whatever reason. If that situation didn't work out, I think he's the best player on the board for that type of player they're looking for. So I honestly think the first five, I don't have an issue with Mel Kiper. I think it's six. I think six goes to Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. The Raiders, will draft whoever best available, whether it's Christian Gonzalez or not. And then Jalen Carter is landing spot number 8, is the furthest he will drop unless somebody else comes up to come get him. I don't see a real trade unless it's Arizona. I think Arizona can do without a top 5 pick. They need someone to replace J.J. Watt. Yes. Is he the type of player? I don't know, but maybe. But the trade to be had, if anything, would be the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe. But we'll see how the draft goes. I can't wait. I'm excited about it. We just wanted to cover the top 10. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Heritage Sports.